Hey folks, welcome back to Gunther's Place, and just want to do a status update on the 2013 Volkswagen CC. As you can see, not a lot has moved. Doing a lot of cleaning, doing a lot of specification checks and tolerances and all of that, making sure everything's good to go. And waiting on some parts. So I got the rod bearings in, got the crank bearings and journals all polished up and cleaned up, and I was going to put the pistons in and broke a couple of piston rings. Well, I didn't break them, but this one here, I bent the oil control ring, you can see, and that's kind of a crucial thing, so I figured I'd just get new rings. So I'm waiting on those to come in. They actually have to come from China. I found a deal on eBay versus buying, something that's $400 or $500 or $600 sometimes. So as you see, I've got the pistons, the stock pistons back on the rods, and I was just going through checking everything, the specifications and stuff like that. And I'm glad, that I replaced the pistons, because this oil control ring on this piston, the little housing, I think I showed you this in the other video. Let's see if I can't zoom in on this. It's not going to let me zoom, but I think I was showing everybody how the, let's see if I can't zoom in here real quick. See the oil control ring there? It's kind of like a spring right here. It's in there. Well, the housing to it is this, and you can see it's kind of shaped like, let me get it up in there, kind of like a little H or an I, if you will. And what that does is that sits over kind of like that, and helps control the oil and scrapes it back down. And it's just one solid piece, so it's one continuous oil control ring, whereas the new upgraded versions are all the three-part. So you've got your two metal rings. Why, this thing doesn't want to zoom in today. There you go. You've got your top and your bottom, and then your wavy ring. And that's where I had the problem in there. So those pistons were ready to go back on, and yeah, kind of got stuck. So what I've been doing is a lot of cleaning. I need to buy a new water pump. That one, it's got the plastic veins, and it's very firm. It's very hard to turn. So I want to get something that's sealed up a little bit better. I'm not sure. That's got 120,000 miles on it, I think. But I've gone through and I've cleaned up all of the other things. Come to find out, this housing for the cams for the Vanos, you cannot buy this little seal or this screen here separately. It comes all one piece, as well as the gaskets in those two little holes that go around the Vanos sensor here on the cover. So those are going to be reused, and but those cleaned up really, really nice. I'll show you just a minute in what I did and how I used that. I've got the new oil seal in the front, in the rear timing chain cover here. So new seal, and the new seal still has that little plastic holder here to keep that swelled up, so that I'll be able to put that over the rear crankshaft. Got the new oil pan all assembled, ready to go. The new pickup tube, nice and clean. Everything's looking real nice there. No crud, nothing like that. So that'll go back. You remember, and I'll show you just a minute in that bucket, but it's kind of, not real good whenever you have an oil pan that had a crack in it for a while. And then I've got a replacement front crank seal. And then these are just the old remnants for the timing chain and all of that in the Vanos. And while I'm over here, I'll show you, there's the old oil pan. And remember all that crud that was down in there? Look at all those chips of plastic and stuff. So, oh man, all that was crammed up in this little bitty pickup tube, or actually the one that's in that box. So I went ahead and got another one and cleaned all that up and everything like that. The oil pump looks fine. The oil pump housing looks fine. The oil pump housing that remained in the block is in there. Looks fine. I've got a lot of assembly lube on there. That's what that grease and crud is. And then this will come off when I'm ready because I need to find the exact same diameter and thickness of that seal for the oil pickup tube to go back on there. So that's where we're at. The block is still clean, polished, looking great. The cylinder sleeves are great, and you know, it didn't score anything or scuff anything when I broke that piston ring, or bent it anyway. And at the time I was trying to use just my hands to kind of put those pistons in, and I went ahead and broke down and bought the actual Volkswagen tool. It's pretty expensive. These things are about 50 bucks. I found this one used. Let's see, where's the part number? There it is right there. It's a T10333, and that's specifically for a 3.6 liter. So 89 millimeter diameter pistons. And what it does is you set this on, let's go over to the table and I'll show you. You set this, and I'll run the video whenever I'm actually assembling this, because I got this neat little handheld or hands-free phone holder here. So, but basically you set that onto your top of your block, and then you take your piston, and it's kind of a sleeve like a cone. So it's wide at the top up here at the face of it, and at the bottom it shrinks down to the side, a little bit smaller than the diameter of the cylinder, and then that allows you to just slide your piston right in there. The inside is kind of a, let's see if I can see, a little bit of groovy because the way they machine these, but it's not going to affect the piston rings or anything like that. But I can feel the little lip where it goes down in there to help you put the pistons. I don't know how well this is going to work, but hopefully a lot better than what I did trying to put them in with my hands. And then I've still just got, you know, cleaning to do. I did get a new crack pipe, or radiator housing pipe. So here's the old one where we broke the end off, and here's the new one. I've already got the radiator, or excuse me, thermostat housing back on there. And it screwed right back in, so that's ready to go. And then also this housing went right back onto it. Everything else has been cleaned up with the exception of the AC compressor and the alternator there. So I need to go get some brake cleaner, as well as some electrical contact spray to get all that crud off of the alternator. And then I will need to go and clean up all the O-rings and stuff, and you know, get what limited carbon is on the injectors off, and replace the O-rings in there. And then I've got all the gaskets and stuff ready to go. The majority of the parts are here. I did get a huge box a couple of weeks ago, but then as I was reassembling the bottom end, I bent that, and it had to be in on the brand new pistons. So I can't use the old pistons because, where's the one that, the coating on the side came off entirely on one of them. Let's see if I can't, yeah, this one here. So you see that? I don't want to stick that back in there. That's not good practice. So I'm going to use the new pistons with the fresh, shiny, brand new stuff. Now these are cast pistons. Okay, you can see the casting made by Mill or Molly. These originals are forged. However, all of the VR6s and the Atlases today that I am aware of have cast pistons, and all of the ones that I've seen in the 2011s and 12s had cast pistons, and even the replacements are all cast, unless you want to buy OE straight from the dealer pistons that actually come with the replacement rings and everything, and each piston is about $700. So you're looking at 7 times 6 pistons, 700 times 6, just in pistons alone and rings. You're talking $4,200 just a reassemble of this engine, and we're not doing that to a salvage vehicle. And an update to the video I shot, I believe it was yesterday, the Volkswagen CC Sport that was over at AutoGator was sold today. So I don't know if anybody's watching my videos, ran over there and grabbed that, but I'm sure you got a deal, and that car is going to be very easy for you to repair and get it back on the road, you know, and get it tuned up. It's not going to have as much horsepower as you know, a GTI, but you could probably build one up in the 400 to 500 horsepower range, and then definitely get you know, run a lot more boost in it than it was stock, and then you got a pretty cool little sleeper car. And the cool thing about that car is you're not going to have the issue with the, you know, with the double O2 sensors, double redundant catalytic converters on that. So if you want to go back, look at that video. It's the one that I published right before this one, and you know, take a look at that. So here we sit. I hate waiting. I like to have all the parts and ready to go. Problem of it is just how I don't want to go in there and bend that ring back. That is an oil control ring. You can't just go back and bend that thing. And then the other thing I was thinking, well, maybe I'll just take the piston rings off of those and put them on the old pistons. Well, I've already got worn side skirts on the pistons, and then I'm going to put brand new rings on them. And not only that, but this secondary ring is much thicker than the secondary ring on the stock piston. So I don't want to do that. And you know, obviously the new waffle style oil control ring is the one I want to upgrade from this old spring kind of two-piece. I want to use that three-piece. And the bearings I'm using are made by ACL. It's they're race bearings, actually made in Australia. A lot of great things I've heard about these, and as you see, that's just the standard. There's the part number that I'm going to be using. They spec'd out absolutely perfect. And, you know, the old bearings really didn't look that bad. They were just, you know, they lost some of that coating on them, but there were no scuffs or anything like that. Nothing you can catch with a fingernail or anything like that. And then the coils, spark plug boots cleaned up absolutely fabulous. I still cannot find the seals or the little gaskets that go like that. If anybody's got a line on those, these rubber things, let me know, because they are what's going to seal. When I put that down in there, they are what's going to seal the spark plug holes in the valve cover gasket themselves, like that. You see that little ring and that ridge? That's got an angle on it, and it's supposed to sit in there and seal that up to keep any kind of debris or water to go in there. Without this little thing, then I've got a gap between the valve cover gasket and that coil pack, and you know, debris and stuff like that can get down there, road debris or whatever, dust. And then, of course, that's right into the top of your head and where your spark plugs are. So I'm going to have to think about what we're going to do there. Maybe I can make something. I'm not sure. I'm only missing 3 of them. So, like I said, if anybody's got a line on where I can get some of those, I'd appreciate it. Throw it in the comments or shoot me a note. Other than that, yeah, this block cleaned up very, very well. It's cleaned up so well that I can still make out the punch marks for the bearings. Let me see, I'll show you right here. So you see that DE, what's that say? DEFE, DGE. So what that means is each one of these crank bearings is a different thickness, and they're usually Volkswagen does them by color code. So yellow or blue or red or green, and each one of these letters corresponds with what color that is. And each color represents a different thickness, whether it's, you know, so many thousandths of an inch or so many millimeters thick, oversized or undersized. And each one, so this D would be, let's say it's a red, that would be this one in the front, number 1, and then all the way going back to the E on the rear. So if you're wondering what those are for, that's that. And then on the Volkswagen GTIs, usually on the crank is where they stick the code. But in this case, they've actually got it on the block itself to show you how the crank journals have been machined. And then it even has the little QR code there. So you can punch on that and it'll tell you exactly what this block is and go from there. And then all the casting marks on the outside. So a little bit more knowledge for anybody that may be watching these videos in the future. And that's about it. So I did pull off the crank pulley here, the belt drive, if you will, because I've got that new seal, front seal, to go on here. And we'll do that and then get the pistons, the crank, get the lower end all assembled, and then we'll start working on the timing and the cylinder head. And let me jump over here to the cylinder head because that's one of the last things I want to show you on this video. Look at that. That is absolutely almost brand new. I mean, there's some crud in there, yeah. But I cleaned up all of the ports. And I got down in there and cleaned all that crud out. You see how that is? Look at that, how shiny that is. This one's just some residual like oil heat sink soak. Look at that. Okay, that was a little dirtier, but look at how those cleaned up. So, so what that is, I'm not going to have any problems with having to get this walnut blasted in the future. And look at how shiny down in those injector bores are. And then look at how clean those journals on that cam are. I mean, can you see that? Hopefully this light isn't reflecting too bad, but I am not going to take that cam out of those journals and redo anything in here in this head. I'm just going to clean this up as much as I did. And all of the sealing rings are all in excellent conditions. There's no chatter, there's no breakage. They still spring back real tight. And yeah, and you can see all the oil channels have been blowed out with air. I've got all the gasket surfaces all cleaned off. And we're ready to go. We're ready to go. I would lift this up, but I'm letting that WD-40 that I've got in there, and you can see it pooled up on top of the valves. Let's see, can you see that? See if I can zoom in there. See that? That's just WD-40. I'm not using anything corrosive or anything like that, just WD-40 sitting in there, just soaking the rest of those top of the valves. Just when I pour them out, they're clean and polished, and we don't have to worry about carbon cleaning in the future for quite a bit more miles. And I went back through and I found some old Resinol 600 degree sealing or sealant that we'll be able to use for all of the gasket surfaces. That remains from the old Volkswagen GTI that we did, the 2013 GTI. And that's where we're at on this video. So thanks for hanging in there. I'll do a couple of more just real quick. I'm going to show you something that I purchased that is going to make your lives a lot easier when you're doing cleaning. I hadn't had one. I didn't invest in one until this car. And I'm going to use it for some other things around the house, but and in the garage, probably clean some tools. But that is an ultrasonic cleaner. And I'll jump into another video here shortly and jump on that one. So thanks so much for everybody watching. Congratulations to whoever picked up that other Volkswagen CC, the sport model. If you have any questions on that, if you're local here in Roseville or California, Sacramento, shoot me a comment, let me know. I've got leftover tools. I'll be more than willing to work out a deal if you want to borrow something, or if you have any questions on how to assemble something, how to tune, where to take your block if you want to get it oversized, where to get some pistons that are oversized, bearings. I've got all of that documentation I've retained. So I'm not going to keep it forever, but if you contact me, let's say 2023, 2024, I'll still have it. So thanks so much for watching. We'll talk to you shortly. Bye.